Jimmy Biao Mia, hello! Icy Soul! Do you ever wake up and just make toast because you're too lazy to make anything else? No. I don't really eat so much bread anymore. I wake up and eat an egg every day. I cook an egg in a tortilla, and it's blessing. I'm like, hey, listen. Alright, here's my... Listen. None of you asked for this, but this is my everyday breakfast thing. I cook a sunny... I attempt to cook a sunny side up egg. That all depends on... if I break the yolk or not, right? Because I often do. I'm getting better at it. But, I still break it lots of times. So, that sucks. But so I try to make a sunny side up egg. I wrap, the borders of it with feta cheese and also Parmesan cheese. Like a little bit, like the edges. And then I crack the egg inside of that. And then put that in the tortilla and I eat it. And if I didn't break the yolk, at this point in time, the yolk breaks and then I get a nice little saucy sauce. But otherwise, I don't. Okay, wait. I need to see the handsome lies of P man. Okay, Pinocchio specifically. Alright, here we go. This is Instagram. Oh my god, it went to Dota. Heck, I want it to be Lies of P. Hello, look at how handsome this person is. That's Pinocchio, but that's not what we're playing. We're playing Ace Attorney. My monitor's dirty. Ignore it. There we go. Ace Attorney, 111 hours! We're gonna beat this game. Maybe. Today. I hope so. Feta and eggs is so good. I love it. Oh, I'm dropping my dice. Feta is good in anything. You just started high school? Yeah. I mean, yeah, I do feel old. But that's just perpetual. Oh god, my voice is going. Oh, I have 15 seconds. Twitch.tv/comfy Catboy. Add to my story. Okay, it has been added. It has been added. And now... Wow! Hello! Welcome! I love you all. So today we might beat this game, so I don't really want to waste any time, depending on if it goes long or not. I'm really not, like, crazy sure. I'm gonna pull up the spoiler-free walkthrough. Ow! Great. Yeah. It auto-completes. I've been here so many. There's not, like, so many things to do. Okay, yeah, there's two more, like, sections, but, ow! But, oh, look at this chimkin dinner. Look at this chimkin situation. Oh my god! Alright, so last we left off... Oh, shoot. Herlock Sholmes and, Sasato's dad were doing, like, a cool, They did an investigation. They found Judge Jijoku. What a cool stream I've never been to before. Yeah, tell me your favorite Pokemon. Tell it to me. We're trying to help Van Zeeks. Oh! This is a new day. Before we begin today, I have a brief announcement. As with the closed trial 10 years ago, some astonishing facts have come to light in these proceedings. The revelation that the well-known Reaper is actually an organization illegally executing its own brand of justice. B, hello! Mycella, hello! Hello, Catman. You extra cat or extra man? I am extra. I can tell you that much. How are you? Hello! At the discovery that a respected yard inspector was at its heart until he himself perished in an assassination plot. Well, I say to all members of the judiciary here present on this occasion that we will stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth behind these disturbing findings. Counsels, you will undertake this trial with the resolve to pursue the truth to the bitter end. That's the name of the game. That's the name of the game. Would that be counted as an OG? I guess so. I don't really, divide people in that way, but I mean, I guess so. Sick, but starting to feel better. No! Yeah, I hope you feel better so soon. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know. If I want to quantify it, I feel like 2 years is like the O-est of G's, you know? Wow, B. Counsels you want to take this trial to resolve. Blah, blah, blah. I read that. Resolve, yes. That's my intention. That's the name of the game, yes. My lord, if I may inquire. Count myself as I know the old model and the... Oh, yeah, I guess everybody that's like... That followed along with the old, the 3D model. I'm an OG too. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, babies. Boo, 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 boo. The defendant may speak. On what grounds is Kazuma Asogi permitted to continue in his role as prosecutor? Yeah, he might have done a murder. He has admitted to colluding with the victim in a plot to assassinate an innocent man. He shouldn't be enjoying the privilege of freedom, let alone be leading the prosecution. I submitted a written petition to Lord Strongheart, requesting that judgment of my transgressions be delayed by 1 day. You did what? I feel so old. I was a sophomore when I followed. Does that mean, have you graduated, or are you about to be a senior? I don't remember how time works. In today's proceedings, I intend to expose everything. My whole life for the last 10 years has all been leading up to this 1 day. Kazuma! Whatever the outcome of this trial, I give my word that I will accept whatever punishment is deemed appropriate, however severe. And I suggest you prepare yourself for the same, Reaper. But it's not him. It's like, come on. I would have graduated, but I'm in sick. Yeah, no, I feel that. Oh my gosh, y'all! You were all lidos, and now you are larger, a little less lido. Kazuma's bristling with hostility today. We're switching my bed around in my room while watching Comfy and somehow tripping over the power box. No! Get the distinct impression we're heading into a very dangerous territory. Is that really even Kazuma-sama standing before us? As an extreme exception to normal practices, I have granted this prosecutor's request, because it makes the game interesting. The defense finds this acceptable, I presume. I remember getting my new bed and dressers when I was following Comfy. Oh my gosh, it's been so long! I've been doing this. I'm getting on 3 years now. In January 5th, it'll be 3 years. Yes, my lord! For the exact day I follow. What happened that day? Tell me. Was that from TikTok? Or just Twitch? In that case, in the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session once again. We resume the closed hearing. Barak Van Zeeks. The defense is ready, my lord. The prosecution is more than ready. More ready than the defense. They suck. Very well, then. This preamble has taken long enough. Prosecutor Asogi, begin. Sure. As you wish, my lord. I can do that. Bring Seishiro Jigoku into the courtroom. Blast, then. We've reached the final battle. We're all boomers. No, boomers are the enemy. Don't worry. Boomer, listen, I am a strong proponent of not just calling anybody that's, like, a little bit older than you a boomer. Because the real boomers, old people in, like, their 60s or whatever, that might not even be, like, actually boomers anymore, but they're the real enemy, so, you know, battle accordingly. He's putting literally everything on the line now in order to get the truth. Smack! Come on, Renosuke, it's time for that steely resolve, because this is gonna test it to the limit. Yeah, do it. Hello. Witness, state your name and occupation for the court. So it was you who issued this, was it? They also have... All these kind of big boys have the same kind of... Your subpoena, I did what was necessary. Ha 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 ha. Well, look at the young man has become. I didn't think I... No, wait, he has a judge voice. What am I talking about? I didn't think I'd see the day when you take that tone with me, I must say. Someone in mid-30s be considered a boomer? Absolutely not. That's what I just said. It is people in their 60s or so. The actual baby boomers. Boomer is not, in my opinion, just a term for people that are older than you. Yeah. And it's sort of like the... Like your topic, hello, welcome. It's sort of, it's like the thing to do to just call slightly older people boomers, and I'm like, no, you're mixing the message, because people that are slightly older than you probably are not the enemy, but boomers, real boomers, are the enemy of all of us, and that's for real. Yeah, mid-30s is millennials. I don't know when Zoomers officially begin, but you can pull up a chart. It's all on the internet. The witness will ensure his responses are pertinent to the questions asked. It's good there's not two judges, because I also could not have ever anticipated that this judge and the other judge might be in the same room, which they're not, but, you know. My name is My name is Seishiro Jigoku, a Supreme Court judge from the Empire of Japan. 97 to 2012? That's such a short... No, it's not. I can't do math. No, that's a big gap. 16 years ago, this man came to London as a visiting student. 6 years later, he returned to Japan. As well as presiding over the Supreme Court, he is also currently Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs. I am, of course, fully aware of Mr. Jigoku and his preeminent roles. And 04, baby. Oh my god. Telling me when y'all were born does make me feel old. For some reason, because, like, you starting high school, it's like, oh, okay, I get it. But, like, saying, like, when you were born, I'm like, oh God. I invited him personally to the International Forensic Science Symposium as a representative of his country. I hear he also played a key role in the conclusion of Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation. Ah, it was a great honor to be involved in the negotiations. I put it all in that treaty. I'm 420 years old. Judge Jigoku, I must ask. Well, I never fancied the young murdering student turned up here of all places. You acquitted me yourself, and now I'm a practicing lawyer of defense. Yes, and full of self-importance like your friend across the courtroom, I see. You came here to London by an invitation to the International Forensic Science Symposium. But then, without informing anyone of your plans, you took a flight to France. Took flight? I'd have to object to that turn of phrase. Then explain yourself. What exactly were the circumstances? Well, I was somewhat expecting this, and I'm sorry to say, I declined to comment. What? Leaving the country prematurely when I was invited guest may be questionable etiquette. But my decision is unrelated to this case. I can't be bound to testify. Super boomer? No, I'm just an alien. Unrelated, you say? I appreciate that a respected police inspector has been killed, for which I offer my Wait. There's so many similar voices, I'm screwing them up. For which I offer my condolences. However, being an alien... He's an alien, too. I'd obviously never met the man, nor do I know the first thing about him. As such, I'm in no position to testify. It's as simple as that. So you would run from all this? I beg your pardon? This case is more far-reaching than the murder of Inspector Gregson. It has ties to another murder, a case that was tried in Japan almost a year ago now. A year ago in Japan, the murder of Dr. John H. Wilson. That's right, and you, Judge Jigoku, are at the heart of both cases. The defense has evidence to prove it. It's a very good beard, I like it. Well, Ryunosuke, I see from the look in your eyes that you're resolved, to carry this through to the very end, too. Let's see your evidence, then. What proof do you have that Seishiro Jigoku was involved in this case? Oh, it's the telegram.
Take that!
Yeah. There's a telegram. This is a telegram detailing a communication sent between Britain and Japan approximately 1 year ago. Kids in high school are giants, they get big. The communication contains 4 names. K. Asagi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, and J. Wilson. Oh, he upsetty. You little... Oh! Where did you get that? In Tokyo. From your office, Judge Jigoku. What? How on earth did you... What's this all about? Why is my name on that list? It's 6'10". I mean, that's tall for anyone. That's very, very, very tall. This list of 4 names follows a certain pattern. T. Gregson and John Wilson, or J. Wilson, are the name of the victims. K. Asogi and A. Shin are the names of assassins. No. A year ago in Tokyo, Dr. John H. Wilson's life was taken in a Western-style restaurant in the capital. The culprit was found to be a visiting student who went by the name of Giselle Brett. But her real name was Asa Shin, a professional killer sent on a mission to kill from Great Britain. That was Ryunosuke, not me. A. Shin and her victim, J. Wilson. And the murder that just took place here in London was the counterpart to that crime. An assassin sent from Japan, also a visiting student, Kazuma Asogi, whose victim was the British police inspector Tobias Gregson. K. Asogi and T. Gregson. One assassin from each country to kill a target residing in the other. What exactly is the defense suggesting? These 2 cases of murder, one that took place in Britain and one in Japan, were masterminded by a pair of individuals from each country as a form of assassin exchange, and the telegram the defense has acquired is proof of the international contract to kill. What? He seems surprised by this. The telegram was found in your office, Judge Ijoku. In other words, the mastermind in Japan was you! I don't know about that. Judge Ijoku, what's this all about? Excuse me. And you, Kazuma, you lied. During yesterday's proceedings, you acknowledged that you'd accepted the assassination mission. But the mark wasn't Judge Ijoku at all. It was T. Gregson. Detective of Scotland Yard is shown by the name on the killing contract. Very impressive, Ryunosuke. But actually, I didn't lie. The name of the target I was ordered to kill never passed my lips yesterday. The idea that Seishiro Jijoku was the mark came entirely from you. Ah! You deliberately avoided saying a name. Company's for 20 years old that technically makes him Gen D. D? For D's nuts. Crimson, I beat you to the punch. The fruit punch. And when my birthday comes up, on December 8th of this year, I will also be turning 420 years old, so don't you forget it. The defense claims these 4 names indicate some sort of international assassin exchange. I'm sure I speak for all present when I say that the very idea seems utterly absurd. Jimmy Piao, that's so nice to hear. Well, Judge Ijoku, what do you have to say for yourself? His silence only goes to prove his guilt. There's another very important point to this new development brings to light. There's now a distinct possibility that the scene of Inspector Gregson's actual murder was the witness's cabin aboard the SS Grouse. Judge Ijoku, you have to testify now. To refuse would put you in contempt of court. Gen D's nuts. There's no need for such quite a vicious stare, young man. Very well, then. As a parting gift to you all, I'll tell you everything I know. Parting gift? It seems this Japanese gentleman has information that the court must hear about the alleged assassins exchange and the events of the nights on the 31st October. Present your formal testimony now. As you wish, my lord. Tell us! Reveal all! I gotta know. I like the top part of his hair, too. These little points, you know? It's true that Kazuma Asogi was assigned the assassination mission 1 year ago now. The target was Inspector T. Gregson. That was a condition of the British study tour. However, in the end, something happened that meant the young man was unable to carry out his mission. On the evening in question, a member of the crew was on duty outside my cabin at all times. If there had been a shot fired, the crewman would have heard it, so clearly I can't be involved. Excuse me. I'm all burpy. Egg burps. So you admit it then, as this communication suggests. There really was an assassination exchange arrangement between Britain and Japan. A political endeavor at the highest levels, not something I can discuss here. Use such a worthy practice as foreign study to coerce somebody to commit murder. It's the most appalling thing I've ever heard. Me, Sasato. Appalling? Well, it's easy to judge. Pardon? Asagi had a reason for taking his sword to that British inspector, you know. What? Which is why he accepted the mission in the first place. Isn't that right, Counsel? Kazuma-sama. Judge Ijoku, if you are the mastermind behind this operation in Japan, then tell the court to identify the identity of your counterpart in Britain. I'm not obliged to divulge that information. As I said yesterday, I've killed nobody. I freely admit that I accepted the mission, but on the night the plan was to be executed, I backed out. In short, this assassination exchange that the defense has identified is unrelated to the events of this case. The crucial point is this. Your police inspector can't have perished aboard that steamship in Dunkirk. Because if he'd been shot in the cabin, it's inconceivable that a member of the crew wouldn't have heard it. That's right. Gregson was killed after he returning to London, in the room on Fresno Street. And the perpetrator of the crime was the Reaper, Baroque van Zeeks. The prosecution's accusation remains unchanged. You know, the only reason I figured that out is because the generations over the last 120 years have been separated. On a 20-year average, 420 is roughly 21 sets back from the day. So, you know, fourth letter in the alphabet. Oh, I see. 2020 Christmas. What were we? Was that Minecraft? What did we do? I don't remember. Ring my bell, Jimmy Biao, about it. To think that a seemingly innocent foreign exchange program was the facade for such Machiavellian dealing. That's quite a line, Strongheart. Come on. Clearly, it's a plot that only the government minister and high-ranking judge, such as the witness, could hope to execute. Well, I seem to recall that it was someone on the British side who controlled everything. Be that as it may, it was not the place of this court to pursue this villainous assassin exchange plot. We are concerned only with the tangible events pertaining to the murder of Inspector Gregson. Is the defense clear on that point, Counsel? Yes, my lord. I'll keep that in mind as I cross-examine the witness. There's a Minecraft stream. We just, like, played I remember we did that on New Year's. We played, like, 7 hours of Minecraft. To the Kazuma Asogi, we signed the assassination mission 1 year ago. A year ago? When Kazuma was still in Japan, then? Correct. It was at the examination center for applicants for the study tour that I approached him. I'll never forget it. I remember exactly what you said. You just came out and asked me forthright if I'd consider traveling to Britain on an assassination mission. Surely not. I thought it was a joke at first, of course, but then it was made clear to me that if I didn't accept, I wouldn't be considered for the study tour. So you agreed to it just for that? I mean, I know how much you wanted to study in England, but assassination? The Empire of Japan had accepted a proposal from the British Empire at the time. An agreement to send a student from each country to the others to deepen cultural understanding and friendship. But behind the scenes, the chosen students were to be given assassination missions. I had no choice but to accept the proposal that originated from my British counterpart. Why? Why didn't you expose the plot then and there? Bonk. Britain acknowledges no part in these alleged misbegotten dealings. I advise you not to make spurious accusations, Foreign Minister Chijoku. As a witness, I am bound to tell the truth, my lord. Anyway, I picked up Asugi and explained the details of the plan to him. The target was Inspector T. Gregson. Ugh, I keep slipping on his voice. That was a condition of the British study tour. Hold it! He's got to be a little more kind of, like, foppish. Why Kazuma? Why did you pick him as the assassin? He was the most capable of all the applicants, and in addition, I knew his desire to return to Britain was very strong. In fact, it was almost more than a desire, it was his whole purpose in life.
Yes, as his best friend, I can certainly attest to that. The way he threw himself into his studies, the way he pursued becoming qualified as a lawyer. It was all ultimately for that one single goal of being accepted onto study tour to Britain. And of course, we all know the reason behind that. He was determined to find out for himself the truth about his father, Genshin Isogi. I don't know if you remember the Among Us nights in Discord. I do. That was a lot of fun. But one night I came home from a pretty rough day. Y'all made me so happy playing with me. I'm so happy to hear that. Oh my goodness. I miss those game nights. But man, it's so rough. Like, it feels like Among Us is like kind of the only sort of thing that like works. Where you don't need to like friend request a ton of people. You know what I mean? Like, I can just set up a lobby code. I don't know. I might look into doing something like that. Cozy was kind of like doing anime nights, and maybe she still is, on Mondays, and that's been fun. I like Discord stuff. It's a lot of fun. There's nothing I wouldn't have done to get here. But that agreeing to assume the role of an assassin, be that agreeing to assume the role of an assassin, or betraying people's trust. Well, you certainly did a fine job of betraying mine, Isogi. But why was Inspector Gregson the target? I have no idea. Those were the orders from Britain. I was in no position to question them. You have no idea? Really? I find that hard to believe. Oh, do you? Dojidoku was once a visiting student here in Britain himself, of course. Plus he has some connection with Inspector Gregson from that time. The defense really ought to catch up. With what? With the fact that the assassin exchange has absolutely nothing to do with the case under scrutiny here. Yes, I've already admitted to recruiting Isogi. One of the easiest to set up, plus it's free on mobile. Yeah. And it's like it's the best. It's like they've done so much updating on it now. It's crazy. However, in the end, something happened that meant the young man was unable to carry out his mission. On the evening in question, a member of the crew was on duty outside my cabin at all times. Oh, shoot. Forgot what was happening. Hold it! I gotta press him. I presume you're referring to the incident that occurred during Kazuma's passage to Britain in January. Where he died, JK, LOL. The awful tragedy that took place on the steamship. Word arrived at the ministry some 2 weeks later after the ship's departure from our shores. The visiting student had been killed, but his body had somehow gone missing in Hong Kong. The news was wired to me from a detective I'd placed on the ship to accompany the assassin. Obviously, Kazuma didn't die at all, but he did lose his memory, including all details about his special mission. Special mission. Did you not consider dispatching another assassin at that point? That wasn't possible, simply because that black-clad young student over there had already put himself forward as Isogi's replacement. And there was no way to stop him from reaching Britain. Ah! My hands were completely tied. So Mr. Shom's strategy worked perfectly! He predicted everything that would happen. Months later, my memory returned, but I'd never intended to go through with the assassination mission anyway. So you were playing me right from the outset, were you? Is that it? I'd sooner be guilty of that crime than of taking someone else's life. I was prepared to do whatever I had to in order to get myself here to Britain. This line of questioning has gone on far enough. All the court should be concerned about in the testimony given by this witness are details relating to his relationship with Inspector Gregson and the victim's murder. In that case, as I've already made perfectly clear, I had no connection to the man or his death. And you have some means of substantiating this plea. Oh yeah, Crimson? Oh yeah? Oh yeah? You want to ask me a question about that particular country? What do you want to ask? What question do you have? Pray, tell me, Crimson. Pray, what question about that specific country that sounds a lot like, can you? Pray, Crimson, tell me. Remember when it comes to TikToks? Yeah, I did a lot of TikToks that were like the memes. I joined for one of my favorite Cosmo moments. play me, then I play you right back. Welcome, Gossamer. It's good to see you. I don't know if I'm gonna beat this. I don't know how long this is, but I would like to beat this game today. We'll see. The evening question, a member of the crew was on duty outside my cabin at all times. Chicken! His name was Chicken! There it is, Crimson. Wow, what an unexpected... It's a while still. We might, depending on how long this one segment of the trial goes, we either finish it today, or break it up for next Wednesday. Which I would not like to do, but here we are. We'll see. Outside your cabin in the first-class area of the SS Grouse, you mean?
Yes, that's right. Not least because there was a murder of a student passenger earlier in the year, I imagine. The liner operators had taken to posting a crewman outside every first-class cabin door. I can confirm the presence of the crewman guard myself.
What do you mean?
Because I accompanied Inspector Gregson to Dunkirk that night. I'd witnessed it with my own eyes. There was a well-built crewman standing guard directly in front of the door to the witness's cabin. His name was Chicken. It was sort of interesting. That part in particular, that particular time, of course, I'd gone to the ship's dining room for dinner. Inspector and I asked the crewman to allow us into the cabin while we waited for Judge Jijoku's return.
I suppose Inspector Gregson was there in his capacity as the Reaper. He was intending to take the witness's life.
Exactly. Exactly. As I've said numerous times now, I had no intention of killing anyone, for God's sake.
So the crewman left 2 potential assassins into the cabin he was supposed to be guarding? Not the most convincing of sentries, really.
In truth, those were my thoughts too. But anyway, I stayed to talk with Inspector Gregson for a short while, and then I left him there and made my way off the ship alone.
Was the guard still at the door when you went?
Keep in mind that this is the last case of not just the game, but the whole thing. So a lot has to be resolved. Yeah, I had a feeling. So maybe we stop at the end of this set. There's not that many decisions in the
Spoiler for your walkthrough.
So I'm kind of basing on that, but like depending on where we end here, like we'll see. Yes, he glared at me as I walked past. I have a lot of stuff I do want to do, or else I'd like just make it a real long stream, but you know. You see, that proves it. If there'd been a shot fired, the crewman would have heard it, so clearly I can't be involved.
Excuse me. The crewman who was standing directly outside your cabin door, you mean?
That's right. Muscular man with a permanent grim expression on his face. He didn't once move from that spot. To be honest, I thought he was a miserable fellow. His name was Chicken. But as it happens, he's a vital witness now. Chicken witness. There's no doubt that Gregson was killed by a gunshot, and it's inconceivable that a crewman standing just outside the cabin door wouldn't have heard that.
But wait, what about the ship's enormous steam engines? The noise of them could have drowned out the sound of the gun being fired.
Sadly, young judicial assistant, that won't wash.
Oh!
You will recall that my cabin was in the first-class area of the ship, which is also, of course, the quietest.
Lurky time, hell yeah, have a good sleep, Mia. Thank you for hanging out.
Would imagine for a moment that it's anything like steerage where the judicial assistants go.
I didn't mean... Wow. But a hole like that made by a bullet was found in your cabin, Judge Ijoku. That's compelling evidence that a gun was fired in there. Breeze, hello, welcome, welcome.
What's that, a bullet hole? Oh yes, you're talking about what the detective uncovered in the wall yesterday, I presume. That was obviously a rotten panel eaten out by woodworm. No doubt he didn't find an actual bullet.
There's a hole in this argument.
Sadly, I was unable to arrange for the crewman to be brought back to Britain with me. But obviously, if a gun had been fired in my cabin on the night in question, as the defense implies, I would have been arrested on the spot and would have never made it to Britain in the first place. Very true, the witness's logic is sound. Since no gunshot was heard from the witness's cabin on the night in question, we must assume that the witness is telling the truth. I'm glad you've seen sense, my lord.
J-Mama, hello. You know what the G stands for? Great. Hello, welcome. I know Kazuma's already admitted on taking this credible assassination plot, but even so. Comfy in bed for an afternoon nap, hell yeah! Let my dulcet tones lull you to sleep, Breeze. Are you ready? Here I go. This is gonna help you get to sleep. Are you ready? It's like. Ah! 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 Is that, Breeze, is that relaxing? Do you like that? Ah! Your voice is like a stick of butter. Greasy. It'll melt if you put it in the microwave for 30 seconds. You sounded like an especially awful bird species. Ah! Ah! No, I'm a cat. Anyways, hearing it confirmed by somebody else is still a real shock. It's unforgivable! Using Kazuma-sama's feeling to manipulate him into agreeing to such a despicable plan. But I think Kazuma manipulated Judge Ijoku too. He completely double-crossed him. Oh dear, it's hard not to see that as a stroke of brilliance on Kazuma-sama's part. One way or another, though, Gregson ended up dead. Just watch your 20 Do You Want to Make shorts. What? Oh, yeah, that's what I'm doing now, Jimmy Biao. Yeah, I saw that. I have G-Mama, thank you. I have the email like notification thing for the PO box. So hopefully I'm able to walk over there today. Cosmo double crossing king. I love him. Oh, me too. And if not today, then definitely tomorrow. G-Mama. I really think the murder must have happened aboard the steamship. So you mean Judge Ijoku must be lying? I know I shouldn't let my emotions cloud my judgment, but I hate him! I hate him so much! Alright, so Judah Kazuma was assigned the assassination mission. Inspector was T. Gregson. Something happened. The evening question him. Okay, so I think the main things are these last two. The evening question, a member of the crew was on duty outside my cabin. A shot had been fired, a crewman would have heard it. Okay, so I think I have to... Probably this is the clue. So let's see. There was an evacuation drill. Objection. Okay, sure. Desato? Yeah, I love her too. Yes, as the court has heard, there was a crewman posted outside Judge Ijoku's cabin. However, we can be sure that contrary to the witness's claim, the guard wasn't there at all times. What? I here have a notice of a particular event that was scheduled to take place aboard the steamship on the 31st.
Where did you get that?
It's evidence gathered by Mr. Herlock Sholmes. You were acquainted yesterday, if you remember.
Herlock Sholmes again.
According to this itinerary, after leaving the port of Dunkirk at exactly 10 p.m. and for a period of 20 minutes, all crewmen of the SS Grouse were to gather on the deck for an evacuation drill.
All crewmen were away from their posts.
During that 20-minute interval, of course, any gunshots emanating from your cabin would have been heard by no one! In summary, Judge Ijoku, you had ample opportunity to commit the crime.
Objection.
Bonk.
A 20-minute window of opportunity. That's an excellent find, Ryunosuke. I have no Oh, I do have an objection. It amounts to nothing.
Why?
Because the witness clearly stated in his testimony that no incident occurred in his cabin. Unless you have some decisive evidence that can show his testimony to be false. Your accusation is nothing more than conjecture. Very true. What well, counsel?
Inspector Gregson was killed in Judge Ijoku's cabin that night. I'm certain of it. Because the defense has the evidence to prove it.
You will present the evidence for the defense at once, counsel. What proof do you have that the victim's life was taken in Ijoku's cabin on the 31st of October?
It's probably... I could have gone the other way. It's probably this. If I examine this... It's probably belong... You see these little things all over the place, don't you? A little part on the top of a pocket watch that you twist to set the time. It's called the crown, I believe. The queen does it. A watch like would be quite useless without one. Crown, like what sits atop of a monarch's head. It's a very grand name for such a tiny part. But actually, yes, Mr. Naruhodo, this is a crown. I have a feeling I might have seen a monarch around here, someone with a bare head. My monarch, you mean pocket watch? I'm quite sure you have. Okay, so it's this.
Take that!
Yeah! Judgy Joku! This was found in your cabin yesterday.
What is that? The crown of a pocket watch? A pocket watch?
And if you will observe, the victim's pocket watch, which we know he treasured, is missing precisely that part.
It can't be.
Moreover, the crown is a perfect fit on the spindle protruding from the victim's watch. Now, the fact that this was retrieved from Judge Jijoku's cabin tells us that the victim's watch almost certainly broke there. Grr. In other words, the victim was killed on the 31st during the 20-minute evacuation drill. In the cabin occupied by you, Judge Jijoku! Got him.
Well, you're razor sharp, aren't you, young murderer?
You young murderer.
Objection!
Wait, he called me a murderer? Why did he call me a murderer?
Expertly maneuvered, Ryunosuke.
One of science Professor Mikotoba. One of his friends was executed for mass murder. That guy's son was manipulated into an assassination. Plot! Ah! Judgy Goku. It's such a difficult name to say. I gotta be honest. It's like the two J's. Or the two just sounds like right after each other. Ah!
And your argument sounds entirely plausible at first. But rather like this pocket watch, it's full of cracks.
What? Calling Ryu a murderer. Oh, right. I forgot about that.
And I believe Judge Jijoku feels the same way. I was wrong to acquit you earlier in the year.
Wow. Sorry.
I'd known that it would result in anyone having to listen to this drivel. I would have declared you guilty just to spare the world your ridiculous bombast.
Ah!
I think it's clear that the witness will have to give further testimony. When you hear what actually happened in my cabin that night, you notice the pitfall in which you've stumbled.
Well, why didn't you just tell us? What are you hiding?
Prior to your renewed testimony, I would like to clarify one point. The fact that this part of the victim's watch was discovered in your cabin means that you acknowledge he was there, I presume. Yes, I do. Very well, then. You may proceed to give your formal testimony about what exactly happened in your cabin aboard the ship on the evening of 31st October. Of course, and as a man of the law, I have no intention of obstructing justice.
What are you... Come on! What are you doing? Stop it.
I heard a guest waiting for me when I returned to my cabin after finishing my evening meal in the dining room. When I walked through the door, a mustachioed Englishman was there, foolishly waving a gun at me. I soon took care of him with an Ippon
COA throw?
though, and he couldn't wait to run away after that. I imagine his watch was broken when I threw him over my shoulder. It was nothing to do with his murder. The inspector was clearly killed having returned to Britain, because his body was found in London.
Well, but they have ice on the ship.
Ippon Seoi, a common jujitsu martial art technique in my country. I was careful not to use too much force, but the man obviously landed too heavily on his watch to take.
I love your model's eyes. I feel like I'm at my fortune told. You're gonna have a good day. Yay! You're gonna have such a good day. Oh my god. That'll be $50.
So, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, I imagine you can see the flaw in your logic now, can't you?
What?
The fact that the pocket watch was broken in the witness's cabin is in no way proves that the victim's murder took place there.
Ah!
I've no doubt the inspector intended to kill me, but he didn't manage to pull the trigger. Yes, because he was merely the tactician, not the Reaper's hand of death. Well, the testimony appears to make perfect sense as far as I can tell.
She thinks.
Let me express my deep gratitude for your understanding, my lord.
But if his testimony holds, Judge Jijoku will be deemed to have had no involvement in the case. Ah!
Well, counsel, I really see no reason for wasting precious court time on a cross-examination.
I'm gonna do it. Shut up. You don't treat the prosecution this way. Sorry, my lord. The defense has a right to cross-examine, and I don't intend to squander that.
You're an embarrassment to your countrymen not knowing when you're beaten.
I don't know, baby.
In that case, proceed, Mr. Naruhodo.
Mr. Odo. Hey, oi, Odo. Get over here. It's me, Gina. I'm back.
I had a guest waiting for me when I returned to my cabin. It was the boy.
G-Joke, guys. Because the so-called guard posted at your cabin door had just let had let your killer pass, you mean?
Apparently, Gregson told the crewman he was police inspector, which was the truth, of course.
He wouldn't have had his identification with him, though.
He had his trench coat and mustache, not to mention the bag of chips. I imagine the crewman was convinced.
Excuse me, but the man accompanying him would have had two sword? Two sword? Two sword? Two sword? Two sword? Two sword, huh? But the man accompanying him would have had two swords slung around his waist.
You mean me?
No. The other one. Who else? Yeah, alright.
Yes, that's true. You would have hoped the sight of a few swords might have set off alarm bells in the guard's head. The point is, I left the cabin before its occupant returned, and I immediately disembarked the ship. To sword.
This game has way more typos than the first game.
So,
And it's weird to me because I feel like typos would be such an easy thing to patch. You know? But, like, they don't care, or, like, I don't know. It's not worth it to them to patch them for typos. I don't know.
Certainly all I can tell you is that only the inspector was waiting for me when I arrived back at my cabin. And you entered without any inkling of suspicion. That's right, none whatsoever. When I walked through the door, a mustachioed Englishman was there, foolishly waving a gun at me.
There's too much text. It's a reading game. Obviously, you're talking about Inspector Gregson.
Yes, though at the time I didn't know the man's name.
But, like, if you know exactly where the typo is, and, you know, people are like, hey, here's a typo, they can just fix it. They can just be like, oh, shit. Yeah, okay, we're pretty sure this is all the typos now.
There was no time for introductions. I value my life over manners.
He's Kazuma. They let you have two sword. I want two sword. I want two sword. I want two sword. By which you mean that the inspector was there to assassinate you, I suppose.
That was certainly the impression given by the gun pointing in my direction, but I've never seen the muzzle of a revolver shake about so much in all my life. Anyone would think the man had never shot somebody before.
Believe it or not, most of us haven't.
Anyway, there was no time to call for the help of the crewman at my door, so I dealt with the man myself. I soon took care of him with an Ippon Seoi throw, though. He couldn't wait to run away after that.
Oh, shoot, I did it again. Tell us about that throw. Everyone has the editing prestige. Wait, what do you mean? Well, I'm not a text editor. That's very sweet, G-Mama. Even though the man had a gun, that was very brave. A very brave move, wasn't it?
Ha 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 ha! My Ippon Seoi is far faster than a bullet, I can assure you.
Surely all that commotion caused the crewman to come in, didn't it? I do catch those things usually. Man, it's crazy because, like, I've got such an eye, and this isn't to toot my own horn, like, actually, but, like, I've just got such an experienced eye for video stuff that, like, I'll watch something and I can just, like, see instantly, like, oh, was something wrong? Maybe I don't know what was wrong, but, like, I'll just be like, what was that? What was that? And, it's been helping with my shorts reviews, because, like, those have been going pretty well. People seem to be liking them. I review if you're a content creator and you make shorts, I review shorts. Go to, here. Boo, 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 boo. Self-promo! I also sell videos on Ko-fi. That's also doing better than I expected, which is really cool. Because that kind of thing brings me closer and closer to my actual life goal of just, like, doing what I like and making, like, you know, like enough to live off of it. You know what I mean? Right now, I don't quite do that, but soon, maybe. I'm working hard. I'm working my little butt off, babies.
Oh, yes, of course. He busted immediately without knocking. The inspector hurled himself at the stocky fellow and just managed to slip past him to make his escape.
The outstanding guard does it again. His name is Chicken.
Luckily, there aren't many situations I can't get out of using a quick Epon Seoi throw.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
I imagine his watch was broken when I threw him over my shoulder. It has nothing to do with his murder.
Should I, I'll press this, but then I want to look at the watch again. The crown snapped off and the glass covering the face of the watch was cracked. Make travel blogs and I'm thinking of selling postcards. Yo, do it. Ko-fi's really great. I think it's like, I need to change my subscription to the yearly, I think. I have it monthly, but I think if you pay for the whole year in advance, it's like $6 a month. I think, and then like they take no fees. You can do a free version, but then they take 5% off of everything you sell. Or you just pay them up front and they take 0%. It's pretty dope. It's pretty excellent. That's also cool though, travel blogs. I want to travel. I want to go places. I want to see the world shining, shimmering, different.
Preferable to the man's head being pulled off or his spine cracking, wouldn't you say? Not that the man was spared for long. A bullet to the chest soon saw to that. The point is, the broken watch doesn't prove that a murder took place. Absolutely not. All the watch proves is the power of my jujitsu throw.
See the world is a good world. I'd love to, but I don't have the money at present. Presently, I do not have travel money. But someday, ooh, I would love that. Whatever you say, it doesn't quite ring true that no shot was fired in that cabin. Because there was an obvious bullet hole in the wall.
What are you talking about? That's what the star of your lowbrow detective stories told you, is it? Well, I don't care for such fiction. Haven't you worked it out yet, you little stripling?
Wow.
No murder took place in my cabin.
Well, but...
Spectre was clearly killed having returned to Britain, as his body was found in London.
Okay, well... What, let's look at that. Let's look at that watch. Where's the watch? I don't know if I ever, like, looked at it. Well, we looked at the watch for the key part. So, like... So, I'm a little confused about this pocket watch, because they just said, like... This was a big revelation that we found this part. Does this not wind it up? This is just, like, to hold it. Doesn't, like, do anything, I guess. Because you need to wind it with the other tool. A little policeman. I don't know. We'll just press the last thing.
But was clearly killed having returned to London. Body wasn't on the boat.
There's no evidence that proves the victim ever returned to London alive.
Just take a moment to think that idea of yours through now, Stripling.
Ah!
If the inspector was killed on the steamship in France, how on earth could he have gotten back to Britain? People die, their bodies remain at that same spot. It's a devil of a thing.
Well, then, obviously the culprit must have moved the body.
How exactly? Carrying a corpse off a ship in your arms would raise a few eyebrows at least, don't you think?
Well, yes, that's true, but...
All passenger luggage is inspected when it is unloaded from arriving vessels. And I would like to think the border police would query a corpse of an English gentleman as hand luggage. If the murder had taken place aboard the ship, you would imagine the body would have been disposed of at sea. There would be no sense in risking being caught by attempting to transport the body back to Britain.
That's killed that idea then. But perhaps not. Mrs. Sato, we've heard that the first-class passengers were under constant scrutiny by the crewmen posted to guard them, which would mean that the culprit had no opportunity to dispose of the body at sea. Yes, that's true. So transporting the body to Britain may have been the only viable alternative.
Dear me, you really are new to this, aren't you? I thought I'd been perfectly clear, but it seems I'm going to have to explain it in words you can understand. I think I ought to alter my testimony with your consent, of course, my lord. I have no objection. State your amended testimony now.
Not being on the ship was proof that the watch broke there. The unsuccessfully argued was proof that he died. Right, but like, I guess I got confused because I thought that also wound the watch up, but because it looks like it should wind the watch up, because I've never owned like a pocket watch. But no way I could have transported the victim's corpse. Well, sure you could have. You're enormous. There's an idea.
Think about it, Stripling. All passengers and crew disembarked at the same time and passed through the same checks at the border. The symposium guests were then driven straight to the hotel in carriages organized by the ministry.
And we met you as soon as you arrived at the hotel.
So you did. Well then, remind me, did I have a corpse over my shoulder at the time?
What? No.
So we're in agreement then. I couldn't possibly have brought the inspector's body back to Britain. Unless, of course, they're developed under clever... what? They've developed some clever device these days to instantly move things from A to B.
Funny you should say that.
Mr. Hairbrain's invention didn't actually work, if you remember, Mr. Naruto.
Yes, of course.
The defense has become unusually quiet, I notice. Yes, because there's really nothing more to say.
He's really pushing that we're all done here. So that's his story.
Well, I suppose if you think about it, whenever you drop a teacup in an office and it breaks, we don't say, Mr. Naruto, that must have been murdered.
He must have been murdered there, do we? Is that a veiled threat about what might happen to me if I break another one?
And the fact is that Inspector Gregson's body was found in a little room in Fresno Street. So if he really was killed in Judge Ijoku's cabin, the body would have been moved somehow, obviously.
Transporting a dead body over a country border, it would have been impossible for the majority of people. There must have been some special circumstances that made it possible for the culprit then.
That could be a vital realization, I think, Mr. Naruto.
Okay, so he altered this, so there's no way I could have transported... I mean, like, he fit in his own luggage. But I don't think we have his luggage as... I don't know. Let's see. We got, what's some stuff that maybe we got at the beginning of this case? Or the other case. Technically. Let's look at this again, I guess. What's this say? It's a steamship ticket, the SS Grouse, first class cabin 001. 1st September, then arrival 1st November. Stopped at Dunkirk. Okay. Excuse me, that's not it. It's like, I feel like it, I don't know. There's the revolver. But this was not there. That was just someone's revolver. The hairpiece. In the labrum, the photograph. Gregson's body. Oh, hold on. Victim was shot in the chest at close range from the front. Scorch marks. Bullet exited the body from behind. Caliber of the gun matches that. Okay. So that bullet hole... That could certainly be the bullet hole. I can tell what's obvious and what's not because I've gone through the whole story, but sometimes I wonder what obvious things I would have missed. It's like crazy. Like, I've watched, like, Game Grumps play games, like, that I've played before. And they're just like, huh. And it feels so obvious to me, like, sometimes. But, like, but then, like, when I played it, I was just like, well, I don't know. Was I having such an obvious time as well? Can I not open? Can I open it? Open it! We're looking for clues. It looks real. It looks real. Okay, well. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, there it is. There it is! There's a big trunk! Yeah. We have proof.
Objection.
Yeah! Okay, we figured it out. That's what I was like, I don't have the trunk in evidence. There's no possible way you could have moved Inspector Gregson's body, you say? You idiot! You baka! I would say the opposite is true.
What's that supposed to mean?
Far from being impossible for you to do, transporting Inspector Gregson's body back to Britain is something only you could do.
What are you talking about, Ryunosuke? Spit it out, man! Tell us! Stop wasting time!
As well as being a judge, Mr. Jijoku is also Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs, which means he's exempt from having his luggage searched when he enters the country. We learned that when we first met you upon arrival in London. Oh, he did a murder.
Well, all those passport checks and luggage searches at the border took rather a lot of time. I must say, I'm very envious of your ministerial status. You didn't have to go through any of that, did you? Oh, I knew you were jealous. Ha 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 ha.
The tourist not bothering paying attention. Well, so Aaron skips tutorials is the meme, but like, and also it's like, dang, it's hard to, streaming has definitely led me to understand how difficult it is to fully pay attention to a game when there's other stuff going on, when you're also trying to be funny and entertain a group of people, you know what I mean? It's different. You miss stuff. I presume you recall this, Judge Jijoku, you idiot. I've trapped you now, you baka. It's a photograph we took in the foyer of the hotel to mark the occasion. As the court will note, you have with you your large travel trunk. Large enough, in fact, to have a corpse inside.
Mr. Naruto! Surely you're not suggesting...
I'm afraid I am, yes. 3 days ago, when we were chatting innocently with new arrivals from Japan in the hotel, the body of Inspector Gregson was just meters away from us, inside Judge Jijoku's trunk. Got him.
Order to this court. I'm skeptical. Counsel that a grown man's body could fit inside the largest travel trunk.
It could. Because I happen to know the witness himself, a man of considerable size, fits inside this trunk. And verifying that would be extremely simple, wouldn't it, Judge Jijoku? Oh my god, and then that, oh, this makes so much sense because, his body would have stiffened up. Where's the body of him? Yeah, look! His body's stiffened up because he was inside a trunk.
Oh my god.
That's crazy. And verifying that would be extremely simple, wouldn't it, Judge Jijoku?
But inside his trunk, how horrifying!
And after we'd spoken with you at the Great Waterloo Hotel, you had the opportunity to visit an apparent scene on Fresno Street, taking your trunk with you in the cab to deposit the inspector's body.
I don't have to listen to this nonsense.
You try to be funny? Come on, G-Mama. Dr. Gory, the coroner who examined the body, has confirmed the possibility. And she's super cute. Mia Ryunosuke is saying that, not Comfy Catboy. He is absolved in all cuteness judgment. She's acknowledged that there are signs that steps may have been taken to disguise the true time of death. The onset of the body's decomposition could have been delayed by storing it in a refrigerator.
Counsel, as I remember explaining yesterday, refrigerators of the requisite size are few and far between.
Yes, I'm sure they are, but one place they're certainly found is on large ocean liners. Such ships are equipped with electricity-refrigerated cold rooms to keep food fresh on their long sea voyages, and the SS Grouse is no exception. Professor Mikitoba told me about it only yesterday. Well, Judge Jijoku? However long you prolong this debate, you can't eliminate the truth. All the evidence points to you being the killer. Oh.
Well, this is all very heartening.
Huh?
I can see that was a wise move letting Asogi and you embark on this study tour. What are you talking about now?
Forgot to make him. I wonder which route that ship would have taken to go to the UK to Japan in the late 1800s. Panama Canal thing? Yeah, I don't know. It takes 45 days, or 50 days, I think. The case has been sealed. A real slam trunk. Let Maria dissect me alive. Oops, 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 oops. Oh, excuse me. What are you talking about now? Logical reasoning, of course. All court proceedings will be built on logical reasoning in the new century. And I can see that you both laid firm foundations for that already.
Judge Idoku, please stop diverting attention from the issue at hand. The defense has made an accusation against you. How do you respond?
Respond? There's really no need for me to respond, is there?
Why ever not?
Because before you can even begin to answer the question of when the victim was killed, you must first establish one key fact. Where was the victim killed? It's quite logical.
The actual scene of the crime.
The prosecution's stance is unaltered. The killing took place on Fresno Street when the gunshot was heard. As the accused, Barak Van Zeek, shot the victim at point-blank range. Since no tangible evidence exists to disprove the prosecution's claim at this time, the defense deductions amount to little more than an elaborate fairy tale. I'm afraid that's how the logical reasoning the British are known for really works, young stripling.
The victim was shot in that little room on Fresno Street and died instantly. I'm afraid that it's the prosecution's claim that's the only fairy tale here. Ow! Ow! I mean to say because I'm freaky. Wait, I meant to say not because I'm freaky, just because she'd have fun, and I want her to have fun. Aw, 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 aw. She is freaky. She's very freaky though. She's definitely pretty freaky. Great. Okay, I read that.
How can you say that? You've never read a fairy tale.
Quite simply, because that claim directly contradicts a certain piece of evidence in our possession.
Very tantalizing, counsel. I think you had better explain yourself to the court, don't you?
Prosecution claimed that Inspector Gregson died instantly when he was shot at the scene on Fresno Street. But this evidence clearly contradicts that claim, which, whomst? But... Ooh-ah. Ooh-ah. Is it... I don't know. His fingers look kind of cold. Maybe I'm imagining that. Well, beans. That's not... Is, what specifically did he say? The victim was shot in the little room. Yeah, so, like... There's no, like... I don't feel like we ever found, like, a bullet hole in the wall. Unicorn is symbolism for something. Yeah, he's got a gavel. A uni gavel. I don't know. Maybe he's got cold fingers.
Take that!
That sounds like it worked.
A photograph of the victim in the very location you claim he wasn't killed.
Yes, but the point is the posture of the body. I pointed that. All right, okay, all right. If Inspector Gregson had been shot there in that room, it's out of the question that his body would have been curled up in a ball like that.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, but your logic is flawed. You could easily have adopted that fetal position due to the pain of the shot, which subsequently proved fatal.
Objection!
He was killed instantly. I'm sorry to disappoint you, Judge Ijoku, but it's your logic that's flawed, you idiot, you stupid. According to this autopsy report, the victim died instantly. He would have felt no pain, much less have been able to draw himself into that position. Ah, la, 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 la. Which begs the question of why the victim's body is curled up in that way. Though the answer should be abundantly clear now.
You're suggesting.
The inspector's body took on that posture ahead of its arrival on Fresno Street before it was coldly turned out on the floor from the inside of a large travel trunk.
No!
Yeah, you're quite right, the shape of the body. It's exactly as if it had been kept in a confined space.
Judge Ijoku, present your trunk for examination. Take all the junk out of that trunk. Shake that trunk. Do it. Shake it. I believe it's very possible that it will contain traces of the victim's blood.
Rarg! Present my trunk, I refuse.
What? On what grounds?
I'm the Minister of Foreign Affairs from the Empire of Japan. I shouldn't have to put up with this treatment just because of some stripling's baseless accusations.
In other words, Judge Shijoku, there is blood in your trunk. And junk.
Decline to answer that. As Minister of Foreign Affairs, I have privileges.
At the moment, you're not a government minister. You are a witness in a trial in Britain's highest court. I don't care who you are, what your status outside this courtroom might be, but you will not withhold information. Nothing is more important than the truth. Ooh-ah. Ooh-ah, ooh-ah, ooh-ah. This game is shoving men in confined spaces. Oh, you know.
Order in the court. Well, Judge Ijoku, what's it to be? You can't be serious. You did it. Have you no shame at all, Kazuma Asogi?
What?
Very well, I admit it. I did bring the inspector's body into the country. Inside my trunk, exactly as postulated by the defense.
What?
You... Dear God, outrageous.
So it was you. You inspect Inspector Gregson's...
No, I admit to nothing more than what I've said. Of killing the man, I certainly have no recollection.
What on earth is that cryptic statement supposed to mean?
I merely disposed of the inspector's body, which was left in my cabin, in order to avoid unwanted attention. As the judicial assistant over there pointed out, I had no chance to throw it into the ocean. So I decided my only option was to bring it into Britain with me and dispose of it somewhere else.
You can't still deny it. If you didn't do it, then who on earth did kill the man?
As you know, there was only one other person in my cabin that night. He had the opportunity. And moreover, he'd already accepted a mission to take the inspector's life.
Oh!
That's right, who else could it have been? It was you, Kazuma Asogi. You... I never thought you'd stoop to this, Seishiro Chijoku. You've taken the word straight out of my mouth, Prosecutor Kazuma Asogi. Ow! 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 Swords are flying! Swords are flying! You thought by leaving the body in my cabin that you could pin the crime on me, did you? Well, the prosecution counsel has already admitted to visiting the witness's cabin on the night in question. Yes, on an assassination mission, no less. You wouldn't. I'm mixing everyone's voices. So, what do you make of that, young stripling? You've heard my testimony now, and that's all I have to say on the matter. I'll admit to nothing more.
I don't believe this.
Counsel for the defense. What is your position now? The court awaits your response to the witness's assertion. The assertion that on the night in question, the victim's assailant was in fact Mr. Kazuma Asogi.
This isn't the dead end it seems to be. The answer's right in front of me. Comes down to Chijoku or Kazuma. Both of them had the opportunity to kill Gregson, but only one of them did it. And I'm just a step away from proving who. Very well. The defense is ready to respond to the assertion put forth by Judge Chijoku. The idea that the victim's murder could have been committed by Prosecutor Asogi is... I'll say it's impossible. I'll save. Save the game, baby. We're gonna save the hair. I'll say it's impossible. Joku, let me remind you of something you said only a few minutes ago. You claim that logical reasoning is a feature of the judicial process.
It is no question.
Well, logical reasoning can prove something here. Namely, that it would have been impossible for Prosecutor Asogi to commit the crime.
What?
Oh my gosh. That swords are flying, just the sword. Bonk.
Good. The court will only accept an argument that is supported by compelling evidence. So present what you have, counsel. What proof is there that allegedly demonstrates the impossibility of Prosecutor Asogi's involvement?
The sword? This music is new and different, I think. Is it the sword? I don't know. Oh, I don't know. I don't feel like that's it. Well,
Look at all those chickens.
I mean, I guess everybody went. If he came back and he said the body was there, then everybody was supposed to be there. I guess.
Take that!
Posture check, thank you. Okay, that was it. The itinerary, this is proof.
An itinerary? How does that prove anything?
Joku, the moment you acknowledge that you found the victim's body in your cabin, this itinerary suddenly became much more significant.
What? Why?
On the night in question, as always, a crewman sentry was on guard outside your cabin door. As long as he was there, nobody could have fired a shot inside the cabin.
Absolutely, because it's inconceivable that the guard wouldn't have heard it and come to investigate.
Pizza? Hell yeah.
Love me some pizza, baby.
So that tells us that the crime must have taken place when the guard was elsewhere. And that narrows it down to the 20 minutes just after 10 o'clock as indicated on the itinerary.
Yes, I see no flaw in your reasoning so far.
But the crucial point is this: when the evacuation drill took place, the steamship had already put to sea from the port of Dunkirk.
Ugh.
Now, clearly the murder could have been committed by somebody who was aboard the vessel at the time. Erratically insane! Hello! Welcome, welcome! How are you? Good to see you in that one little horn of yours. I love it. Hell yeah. But Prosecutor Asogi stated in yesterday's proceedings.
What?
I didn't come to Great Britain to take anyone's life, so I left Gregson and disembarked the ship. I spent that night at a boarding house in the town and returned to England the following morning.
Which I'm sure the court will agree is conclusive proof that Kazuma Asogi couldn't possibly have carried out the killing. Yarr! Icy Soul, you're not new to stream, but if you are new to stream, I'm gonna ask you a few things. I wanna know your favorite food. I wanna know your favorite cute thing. And I wanna know your pronouns. And if you were like, hey, Comfy Catboy, what are your pronouns? Well, I will tell you. Oh.
No, absolutely not. I don't accept that at all.
What do you mean?
The boy's just saying that to exonerate himself. We can't trust that he really disembarked the vessel. Obviously, after he left my cabin, he hid himself somewhere nearby on the ship. Just waiting for his chance to come back and finish the...
Whoa. No, that's out of the question. Isn't it, Kazuma? I'm good, I'm vibing, I hope you're doing well. I'm doing great. I love this. If you've never played an Ace Attorney game, oh my god, they're all on sale right now on Steam, and they're some of my favorite games ever. For like $10, you'll get like infinite hours. You'll get like, I don't know, I feel like each game is like 100 hours or so. Maybe not quite that much. No, probably like 60 hours, maybe 50, 60. But there's 3 of them. And that's just the first trilogy. And then there's this, which is 2 games. It's on sale for 20 bucks, and I'm over 110 hours on this game. And it's all good. I'm never bored. You know what I mean? Some visual novels you get bored. But not these. As the defense rightly recalls, I disembarked the vessel and spent the night in a boarding house in Dunkirk. And as I said yesterday, I signed my name in the accommodations register book. All extremely easy to verify and undeniable proof.
Oh, no, There's no escape this time. You can forget that you're a judge or a government minister. This time you gave the court an honest answer as a common man.
Oh, he got big. He filled up the screen.
You killed Inspector Tobias Gregson and transported his corpse back to Britain. Then you dumped the body in the room on Fresno Street and made it look as if the murder had happened there.
Wow! That's what really happened, isn't it? Seishiro Jijoku.
It was a damn trial 10 years ago. That's when this all began.
Alright, thank you for monologuing.
Looking back now, my fate was decided that day. I was doomed already.
What do you mean? Whoa! What? We need that! What? Are you just a literal demon? What are you talking about?
It's over! My life is over.
What do you mean? Why? You broke literally just that and nothing else. If he told me he was a voice actor, I'd believe him. That's very sweet. That'd be cool. That's not like my aspirations or anything. But that's very sweet of you to say. Broke the stand. Oh yeah, he did break the stand. Oh, I forgot about. Thank you, guys. Gossamer's here to like keep me on target with the intricacies that I'm missing. The little things. I don't know who's saying this. A British assassin to eliminate a professor in Japan. This is probably him.
A Japanese assassin to eliminate a detective in Britain. Both assassins will use diplomatic immunity to evade conviction and return safely to their homelands.
You have toe beans? I have a shoe. I have boots, I mean. Hold on. Is this how you do it? Yeah. Look at those beans. They do have beans. They are beaned. Ooh, 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 ooh. Oh, they do little tappy toes. I didn't know that, actually. I didn't know they made little tappies. I've never moved around like this. That's fun. I didn't know that. Tippy tappy babies. Tap the other one. Yeah, there we go. There we go. There we go. I just gotta tilt my head. Ooh. 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 That's so fun. Alright, time to go back. Here we go. Here we go. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah. Hell yeah. Okay. Alright. Those were my beans. You're welcome. I've watched so many playthroughs of this game, it's all ingrained in me now. I'm all like, dang, when I stop playing Ace Attorney, I hope I still see Gossamer. I'll understand if I don't. I don't know what we're gonna play next, if it'll be... I might take a visual novel break, but we'll see. There's Super Mario RPG, the remake, that I probably will play. I played the original when I first started streaming. And I had, like, no viewers, you know what I mean? When I was a baby boy. Just a baby Catboy. Dance a dance. I could be in Genshin. Really? How come? Because I have beans?
The assassination exchange request arrived from Britain about 1 year ago. Though it was hardly a request, it was a demand.
And for that, you decided to recruit Mr. Asogi.
Gunsling, hello. How are you? I was in Genshin with my power be cat. I didn't mean to do that, but it works. Woo. Let's hood up for this. Let's get in there. I forget, what's the purple one? Isn't that electric? Maybe that. Yeah, the Apollo Justice trilogy is coming out pretty soon. Let's finish Baldur's Gate. Yo, hell yeah. Electro, yeah, I think I'd be that one. I usually play Fire Boys. I had Diluc when I played. And people sometimes are like, wow, but like, as a Miku, we're doing great. We're getting to the bottom of a big 10-year mystery.
If things didn't go according to plan.
Your chosen assassin never made it to Britain. And you found yourself unable to dispatch a replacement. Because I was already on my way to Britain at that time in Kazuma's place.
And that left me with only one option for carrying out my obligation. To eliminate the mark myself, personally. Of course, there was but a single opportunity for me to do that.
Yeah, absolutely, Gunsling. Ooh, baby. I still need to get a lot more through Baldur's Gate also. I've only left the first little starting town area, and I haven't had them all at computer game time. The International Forensic Science Symposium, I presume? We couldn't have named it anything shorter?
That's right. I decided it would be safest to carry out the plan before my arrival in Britain. So I enlisted the help of my British counterpart, and made arrangements for a pretext that would take the inspector to Dunkirk. To lure the man in, he was given a sham mission by the Reaper.
What? The Reaper?
But there's only one person who could have done that. The mastermind of the entire operation, the Reaper himself.
Ah. So, that means the assassin exchange was... It was all planned by the Reaper!
I'm not at liberty to say anything about my British counterpart. Anyway, the inspector accepted the Reaper's mission and dutifully infiltrated my cabin on the steamship. But it was all a trap designed to lead him to France and his own death.
Oh, how awful.
It was past 9 o'clock when I returned to my cabin from the dining hall that evening. I didn't give him time to attack me. I choked him until he lost consciousness. But there was a guard just outside the door, so I left it at that for the time being. Even the slightest noise might have aroused suspicion, so I bided my time, waiting.
For 20 minutes for the 20 minutes after 10 o'clock.
I had intended to finish him by strangulation, but moments before I had the chance, he suddenly came around and went for me in a reckless move.
Bang.
I'd received the British-issued gun 16 years earlier, being a member of the judiciary as a visiting student. I never imagined I'd have to use it for something like that. So the revolver belongs to you, does it?
Then the victim was killed inside your cabin on the SS Grouse, which begs the question of why you arranged for his body to be discovered in the room on Fresno Street.
The young judicial assistant over there has already answered that question. There was no way I could take the body up on deck to throw it over the side. That's precisely where all the crewmen were gathered for the evacuation drill. So before the first-class cabin sentries returned, I took the corpse to the refrigeration room.
And then on arriving in Dover, you concealed the body in your trunk in order to smuggle it past the border police.
I knew I needed to take steps if the police were to be convinced when the body was found in London. In that case, you must have known. You must have had intimate details of Inspector Gregson's intended schedule. Yes, my British counterpart sent me everything I needed to know. The inspector was due at Fresno Street at 5 o'clock that afternoon, in order to meet a man by the name of Hugh Boone, from whom he would take back his police identification.
Ah!
I decided that man would be the perfect person to set as the culprit. So I took a hackney carriage over there with the body still in my trunk.
That must have been just after we took this photograph with you at the hotel then. Yeah.
Yes, I wasn't expecting a welcoming committee. I was more than a little nervous. On Fresno Street, I spotted a young girl selling firecrackers.
Miss Venus, of course. I love her as well. She's so cute.
I conceived of the candle trick then and there, so I donned a simple disguise and approached the girl to buy enough firecrackers to replicate a gunshot. What sort of disguise? For some reason, the inspector had a bright red hairpiece in his own traveling case, so I put that on, although I suspect I drew more attention to myself than that man would have otherwise.
The hairpiece we found at the scene. The inspector had it ready for the Red-Headed League investigation.
Only arrived at the room around 4:45, so I quickly placed the body on the floor, moved the notice board, and set up my little candle trick. I arranged that the firecrackers would go off with a bang around 15 minutes later. So that Mr. Boone, who was due to arrive at 5, would walk straight into a trap. Except, at the last moment, I made a careless blunder.
What was the blunder? Tell me about the blunder. I imagine it was the bag of fish and chips. Ah.
I didn't notice it had fallen out of his overcoat pocket when I moved the body to the refrigeration room. I had put it back in his pocket the following morning, but... well, it seems the warmth of the heated cabin had accelerated the decay of the fish. Anyway, that's everything. All the sordid details of what I did. Barak walked in the frame job that wasn't even meant for him. God, the bench being gone is crazy. Bonk. I've heard enough. We've arrived at the truth about the murder of one of the country's most capable and respected police inspectors. The witness will be tried in the coming days. For a crime of such a vile nature, you can expect the most severe penalty.
An exchange of assassins, what a foolhardy idea.
Mr. Jijoku, one last detail. Who was your counterpart in Britain? Who was the mastermind behind the assassin exchange? Nothing you say now can make matters any worse for you. Just tell us. Enough! I've already told you that I cannot say. Even as things stand, you may very well never set foot in your homeland again. What are you waiting for? Can we get this over with now? With these games, everything's so dramatic and over the top. Me too. It's finished, all of it. I'm finished. Then in the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I now pronounce the findings of this court. This man before us has admitted to the willful murder of Tobias Gregson. Seishiro Jigoku, it is the opinion of this court that you shall be found. Ba-boom! So fast. May I remind all those present of the strict confidentiality demanded by this closed court. Moments ago, Mr. Jijoku signed a written confession, admitting to the murder of Inspector Gregson and the subsequent conveyance of the body. In short, the defendant's innocence has therefore been established beyond doubt.
Oh, wonderful! Well done, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, thank you.
Something wrong?
I'm just a little troubled by his silence. The true identity of the Reaper of the Bailey and its extraordinary assassin exchange. We do remain in the dark about these mysteries. However, insofar as the indictment brought against the defendant in this trial, we have reached a conclusion. I have every intention of pursuing both mysteries as a prosecutor. As you wish. Now, for the formal adjudication. My dog is watching the stream. Borf, borf! Hello! I hereby declare the defendant Barrel Transeeks. Prosecution calls for adjudication to be deferred. Counsel. The accused innocence hasn't been fully established at all, and therefore it would be wrong to deliver a verdict at this time. That is the prosecution's unwavering position. What?
But Judge Jijoku's already confessed. The hell are you talking about? Are you crazy? You taking crazy pills right now?
Nevertheless, Barak Van Zeeks has committed crimes for which he must be punished. Well, it would appear you have information that the court needs to hear, Prosecutor Asogi. Certainly, the murder of Inspector Gregson was actually carried out by Seishiro Jijoku. But it's clear from the witness's testimony that he was coerced into complying with the plot. Into this sick, merciless assassin exchange. That may be true, but... So what I want to know is, who coerced Jijoku? Who is pulling the strings? The victim went to France having been ordered on a mission for the Reaper, only to be murdered. In other words, the mastermind behind the assassin exchange is someone in a position to give such an order. As we've already established, the Reaper himself. Well, certainly, that would appear to follow. The prosecution hereby formally accuses the man in the dock, Barok Van Zeeks, of being the Reaper of the Bailey, and furthermore, I'm going to prove his guilt beyond all reasonable doubt. What? What? We thought we were done. Cosmo was like, nah, baby. Order, order, order! The Reaper of the Bailey is a long-standing mystery, Council. Are you suggesting you have some new information with which to build a case?
Scotland Yard has already investigated Lord Van Zeeks very thoroughly in that regard, and they found no evidence whatsoever to substantiate the claim that he is the Reaper.
Perhaps, but some circumstances have now changed.
What do you mean?
It's already been established that the assassin exchange was negotiated with Jijoku by the Reaper himself, which means we now have a new line of questioning by which to identify definitively the man's identity. That is the prosecution's intention here. I must say I'm surprised by quite how tenaciously you appear to want to besmirch my name. You are guilty of an unforgivable crime, Lord Van Zeeks. And I will bring you to justice for it, whatever it takes.
That explains Kazuma's silence before. He'll stop at nothing to finish what Lord Van Zeeks unwittingly started 10 years ago.
Very well. Whilst it's extremely irregular, I will on this occasion grant the prosecution further opportunity for witness testimony. The defense will disclose any and all involvement he has had with the Reaper and the Assassin Exchange. I thank you, my lord, for guiding the court so wisely. I hereby declare this court to be in session for a supplementary hearing. How's he do that with just his arms up in the air? You know? Is there a button at his feet? Oh! Why'd they bring a new stand-in? Pray turn a blind eye to the discourtesy as I verify that this vile and unremitting accusation hasn't soured the contents of my hollow chalice. Sudden leg. Lord Van Zeeks! I first had this to suffer the pseudonym of the Reaper 10 years ago now, and ever since that time I've endured the weight of the implied guilt that's gone with it. Ah! So I welcome the chance to testify now and crush those allegations once and for all. Good. Then let justice decide, Lord Van Zeeks. The prosecution seeks to begin building its case by calling the accused to the stand as the primary witness, in order that he may answer the accusation of it. And what says the defense?
Putting the defendant on the witness stand can be extremely dangerous, and Kazuma-sama is so emotional at the moment. He's not thinking logically. You're right, he's not himself, but I knew it would be like this. And I came here today determined to face him through whatever might arise, as a lawyer and as his friend. We're just friends. We are only ever just friends. Then that's what we must do! Bonk. The defense has no objection, my lord.
The real surprise is the case. Here is more! He lights the flames with his privilege. Very well, defendant, you will take the witness stand and give formal testimony on the subject of your involvement with the Reaper and the Assassin Exchange. As you wish, my lord. The Reaper and the Assassin. I have never taken the life of another, nor have I instructed another to kill. I've been investigating the truth behind the Reaper for years, and I was aware of Gregson's involvement. That's the reason why I went to Fresno Street that day, and how I came to discover the body. The point is, no common thread exists between myself, Gregson, and Dr. Wilson. Clearly, therefore, there's no reason to suspect me of being behind the assassination exchange. Ba, ba, ba! So you deny all accusations by the prosecution, both that you are the Reaper of the Bailey and that you masterminded the assassination exchange. I acknowledge that the public at large believe me to be the Reaper. However, that's a fallacy, which I alone am in a position to forswear. Naturally, the prosecution believes the testimony just given by the accused to be untrue. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, whoa.
Yeah, huh, what?
Let me ask you, why are you here? What really brings you to this courtroom?
A desire to uncover the truth.
Even if the truth proves your client to be guilty.
From all my experiences in this courtroom, I've come to realize something. The truth can't be hidden. Sooner or later, it will come out.
That's not true. But alright.
So it's always my intention to work with my client in pursuit of the truth.
I want you to remember what you just said. Enough chat. Counsel for the defense, proceed to cross-examine the witness.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I know exactly what you're thinking, Kazuma. I know you're just waiting to point it out. The contradiction you're convinced lies somewhere within this man's testimony.
Oh. Oy, 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 oy. I'm rubbing my little eyes, babies. Ooh. Ugh. Okay. Alright, here we go. I've never taken the life of another, nor have I instructed another to kill.
So you're not what the general public refer to as the infamous Reaper of the Bailey?
Exactly. Don't imagine for a moment that the court will be satisfied with a one-word answer on this. I realize that.
You're intending to comment on every sentence. This could take a while, Kazuma. Didn't you find it disturbing, though? That one by one defendants who'd been acquitted after your unsuccessful prosecution were killed?
Let me answer that question by posing another. If one by one defendants who'd been acquitted by your successful defense were killed, would you find that disturbing?
Disturbing? I couldn't possibly say how it would make me feel with a one-word answer like that.
Exactly.
Well, that told me.
But even though I'm not the Reaper, that doesn't mean I ignored all the hearsay. I've been investigating the truth behind the Reaper for years, and I was aware of Gregson's involvement.
You say for years. How long exactly?
Since the very first time the Reaper's influence was felt in this courtroom. 10 years ago now.
And your investigations led you somehow to Inspector Gregson, you're saying?
I didn't want to believe it. He was a personal acquaintance. We'd worked on cases together in the past.
A friend, even.
I felt like a betrayal, but I demanded permission to search his office at the yard without his knowledge. Which is when you found his secret notebook, is it? When I first learned of the location, he'd noted only as grouse, and the appointment at 5 p.m. on the 31st, though I didn't know the significance of those details at the time.
So now we're at the nub of the matter.
The nub? As it turns out, the significance for me personally was very unfortunate. That's the reason why I went to Fresno Street that day and how I came to discover the body.
But why did you go to that specific location?
I thought that if it was the Reaper's headquarters, then by turning up there at 5 o'clock I would catch whoever was involved red-handed. Sadly, all that was awaiting me was the inspector's corpse.
Yes, even though it wasn't designed for you, you walked straight into the trap set by Jigoku.
Exactly. Jigoku had intended to implicate Hugh Boone. But unhappily for me, I arrived at the scene first. Ah! A ridiculously careless blunder.
Moved on to just throwing insults around, I see, Kazuma.
Think what you will. Think what you will. It doesn't change the truth.
What's the truth?
The point is, no common thread exists between myself, Gregson, and Dr. Wilson.
There is a link between you and Gregson, though.
Of course, we were close acquaintances. We'd worked on numerous cases together. I considered the man to be a mentor of sorts. He taught me a number of important lessons.
He did? Such as what?
Where to buy good fish and chips and such like. Come on.
Well, that was convincing.
Dr. Wilson was a coroner, of course, but that was some time in the past. And in any case, I understand it was several years ago that he was invited to work at a Japanese university.
That's right. He was a visiting professor at the Imperial Yume University in Tokyo.
It should be unambiguously clear, then, that no link exists between myself and him. In other words, I had no motive for sending some assassin across the oceans to kill the man.
Well, but sounds plausible enough, and I want to believe it. Something about this just doesn't sit quite right with me. Hold on. Well, but what do you mean? That's not true. Because isn't that the whole point about her daddy? Or wait, not this one. Yeah. This was signed by John H. Wilson, so that doesn't make any sense. That was his brother. Oh. Why? Oh my god.
Objection.
There we go. Okay, alright.
What is this? An autopsy report? Wait, this is 10 years old, from the autopsy of Lord Clint Van Zeeks.
What? My brother's autopsy report. I'm pleased to see the defense doesn't intend to run from the undeniable truth.
Order in the court. What reason do you have presenting a 10-year-old autopsy report here, counsel?
The autopsy report of the professor's final victim is an indelible link between Inspector Gregson, Dr. Wilson, and the defendant.
Not that accursed name again, the professor. I've personally reached out to all the courts relating to that case. I know that at the time, autopsy was considered sacrilege to the victim's souls, and for a member of the aristocracy like Lord Clint Van Zeeks, it was unthinkable. But someone implored the powers that be to allow the autopsy to go ahead, Inspector Gregson. He declared that he was certain he would obtain conclusive proof from the procedure. That did sort of strike me as strange at the time.
And it was Dr. Wilson who conducted the autopsy. His signature is clearly visible on the document.
As promised by Gregson, the autopsy did indeed produce evidence. Evidence that conclusively proved Genshin Nasogi was guilty of the murders. In my brother's dying moments, he mustered all his remaining strength to leave that vital clue behind.
Indeed. That was the key to indicting the professor for his crimes and the conclusive evidence that convicted him. It enabled Lord Van Zeeks here to avenge his brother's senseless death with a marvelous victory in court. A marvelous victory, was it? I wonder if that's really true. What? Could the same be said if it turned out that the key piece of evidence was in question was in fact fabricated? That the inspector, the coroner, and the prosecutor all colluded together to cast an innocent Japanese man as a mass murderer and send him to his death? Well, that's outrageous. And now, 10 years later, for some reason, the secret has been threatened and needs protecting. Which is why the inspector and the coroner had to be silenced, isn't it? By someone in power in Japan and in Britain, using the two killers recruited for the assassination exchange.
Oh, that's a big deal.
Order at once.
10 years ago, my father was convicted in this very courtroom as a mass murderer to be sentenced to death. But it was all a sham, and I swore to myself that I'd prove it. Which is why I had to come to Britain, whatever the cost.
Yeah, drink it, baby. Please.
No! You'll have to forgive me if I feel compelled to toast this vengeful Nipponese's tenacity of purpose here. However,
No, drink, please. No!
he who fails to quash his emotions in the courtroom has failed as a lawyer.
Come on, Kazuma. You know this won't wash. You're claiming your father was misrepresented in a trial that took place a whole decade ago. You must see that without evidence. That's nothing more than a wild accusation.
As it happens, I have evidence.
What?
As the court has heard, I crossed the channel to France with Gregson on the 31st. I went with him on the pretext of being the assassin recruited to kill Seishiro Jigoku. But my true intentions were to make the inspector tell me the truth. What truth? The truth about the evidence, and he acknowledged what I'd already deduced. There's a closely guarded secret about what went on in that autopsy 10 years ago. What? A secret? I know nothing of any secret. While we waited for my supposed mark in Jijoku's cabin, I drew my clan's illustrious sword, Karuma, before the inspector's eyes. He very quickly understood what my true motive was.
Oh, we get to voice him again.
Right, I see. You're that Asogi's young lad, are ya? And what? You're gonna cut me down with that thing, is that it? That will very much depend on the answers you give to my questions. I want to know what really happened 10 years ago. The truth, that's all. Before we get into it, let me make one thing clear. I still believe your father was the professor, there's no doubt in my mind. But unfortunately, back then, we didn't have the evidence that we needed to make the crime stick. So you admit it then. The evidence used in my father's trial was fabricated. It was for the good of the country. Anyway, I was just following orders. Orders? What exactly did you do? Speak! I'm not saying another word. Even if your life depends on it. That's right. Even then. Oh!
So that's when the tip of the sword broke. Oh, Kazuma-sama!
If the results of Clint Van Zeeks' autopsy were fabricated, then the investigating officer Gregson and the lead coroner Wilson must have known about it. And they can only have been ordered to pervert the course of justice in that way by one man. The man leading the case for the prosecution, Baroque Van Zeeks. In other words, the defendant did have cause to organize the exchange of assassins. Exactly, and as was established earlier, it has to have been the Reaper himself who liaised with Jijoku in Japan to arrange the exchange. That's a sentence. Ah! Made you in Genshin and put it in art space. Yo, hell yeah, I'll check that out after stream, I see. Thank you. Prosecution just admit to attempted murder. Maybe. So it follows that the Reaper's true identity can only be that of the man who stands accused in this courtroom today, Baroque Van Zeeks. Oh my god! That's crazy.
Objection!
Yeah, there we go. Kazuma Asogi. What? What you've just told the court, are you absolutely certain of your facts? Did Gregson really fabricate evidence for that trial 10 years ago? I heard it with my own ears, his shameful admission. In that case, I know. The name of the Reaper. What?
Lord Van Zeeks.
I gave no such... I gave no such orders, I know that for certain. Which narrows down the remaining possibilities to one.
Van Zeeks isn't the one behind all this. Then yes, there is only one other person who could have done something like that. Is it the sussy clock man? Come on. I believe I know who it is too. It has to be.
You?
I just had a feeling this name was going to come up. The true identity of the infamous Reaper of the Bailey is... it's gotta be him.
Take that!
He's the only person above... our Vampire Boy.
The only person who could have arranged the assassin exchange and manipulated the autopsy reports is the Lord Chief Justice himself! Lord Vale Strongheart!
Whoa! Lord Strongheart!
Yeah, baby. Yes, it's true that 10 years ago, the defendant handled the prosecution of the professor in court. But he only ever took the case after his brother, Lord Clint Van Zeeks, had been killed.
I can only assume this is the most inappropriate joke in British judicial history.
Well, Lord Van Zeeks?
10 years ago, I was very new to the profession. But I had a burning desire to avenge my brother's death, so I pleaded for control of the case. The investigation to that point, the supplication of the lords to allow my brother's corpse to be examined. All the evidence I was given, the autopsy reports, it all came from you. I've spent my life since then believing I was in your debt for the way you stood aside and let me handle the trial. But I see now, I was very much mistaken.
It was a hugely influential force that caused the inspector and the coroner to break the law 10 years ago. And that same force was still felt a decade later on the other side of the world by Seishiro Jigoku.
Lord Strongheart, everything falls into place when we recognize that you are the Reaper of the Bailey. Oh my god.
The court awaits your response, my lord. This may very well go down in British judicial history, but I assure you it is no joke. Consider this a formal accusal by the defense. It doesn't warrant a response. A formal accusal? Don't be absurd. The defense's claims are utter nonsense, a wild fantasy at best.
You're not going to defend yourself?
You claim there was some wrongdoing with Lord Clint Van Zeeks' autopsy? That's utterly untrue.
Objection.
But I heard it from Gregson's own lips. He admitted to it. And where is your evidence?
What?
Gregson's dead now. Were you thinking of summoning a ghost to the stand? You mean to say... I forget how the system works in your little backwater country. Wow. But in the courts of the British Empire, without evidence, there is no case. Ooh. I have no intention of entertaining some wild fantasy that can't possibly be substantiated by anyone or anything.
Arg. What about Dr. Scythe? She's not dead.
Order in the court. Following Inspector Gregson's murder and in the light of Dr. Wilson's death as well, there's really no one left who could testify about the events of 10 years ago, is there? So that was the real purpose of the assassin exchange. This court has no business raking over the coals of a case that was concluded a decade ago. The accusal brought by the prosecution and the defense is categorically denied. I take it there are no objections.
Kazuma. Ugh. He's more or less waited his whole life for this moment. Is there really nothing else we can do now? Is there no other avenue we can go down to in pursuit of the truth about what happened all those years ago? There was someone who could testify about... Yeah, there is someone. Dr. Scythe. Gone to extraordinary lengths to cover his tracks. Even so far as dispatching an assassin all the way to Japan to ensure Dr. Wilson's silence. And Dr. Scythe won't say anything against Strongheart. Oh, wait. Is it the daughter? Do we get to hang out with the daughter more? Actually, there is one person who could still testify about that autopsy.
Don't be ridiculous. There's no one left. Who, Ryunosuke? Who? Tell me.
Kazuma,
Please, this trial can't end. Not yet.
I'm not doing this for you. Even though we're just friends. I'm doing it for the truth. The person the defense would like to call to the stand to testify about the autopsy of Lord Clint Van Zeeks is... Please be her. Oh my god.
Take that!
Please. Ah!
Denied.
What? I want to know why.
And I want to... Oh, it was wrong.
Okay, that's fine. There's someone else. Oh, wait, no, it's Mikitoba. That's right. No, I forgot. Thank you, Susato.
Take that!
I forgot.
Heaven help us, another Japanese...
Wow. An expert in forensic medicine, my lord, Professor Eugene Mikitoba. 16 years ago, he came to London with Seishiro Chijoku and Genshin Isogi as a visiting student.
I was thought Maria's first. I love her. I just want to see more of her. And the game's almost over, and I'm sure we won't. And they gave her so much fun animation, but that's it. That's all we get. And what could this testimony possibly tell us?
Professor Mikitoba was the primary assistant during the autopsy in question. He was also the person who actually penned the report.
Incorrect. The autopsy was carried out by the coroner, Dr. Wilson. His report carries the signature.
It was the primary assistant's duty to keep a written record of the coroner's work during the procedure. In actual fact, the coroner merely read over the report at the end and signed it.
In other words, Professor Mikitoba witnessed the entire autopsy from start to finish. The defense demands that Professor Mikitoba be summoned as a witness as a matter of urgency. Whatever really happened in that autopsy laboratory 10 years ago is something only he can tell us.
The defense's demand is denied.
What?
But Professor Mikitoba is in London at this very moment! We can summon him to the stand in minutes!
No, of course he's not going to agree to it. Strongheart has no intention of summoning anyone who knows. He's too concerned about protecting himself.
Prosecutor Asogi, let me refresh your memory, as you seem to have forgotten the prosecution's stance. Only minutes ago, you accused the defendant of being the Reaper and of masterminding the assassin exchange. I did, yes. So present your evidence for those claims and make your case complete. At this time, I don't have the requisite evidence, but that's exactly why we need witness testimony. The Professor case is closed. There are no clues in the distant past that will bolster your argument today. I'm afraid to say, Prosecutor Asogi, that you would appear to be possessed by the spirit of your late homicidal father. Now, as I stated earlier, this court has already reached a conclusion with respect to the matter at hand. Inspector Gregson was murdered by Japanese Supreme Court Judge Shishiro Jijoku. And as for any hidden circumstances that may exist, they will be investigated in due course by the proper authorities.
But we all know what will happen. That'll just give the mastermind of the whole venture time to cover his tracks again.
By which you mean me? Your punishment for this contemptible behavior will be decided at a later date. As for you, Prosecutor Asogi, you will be remanded following these proceedings, willingly, I trust, since you gave your word. Ah! This futile game of revenge is over, young Master Asogi. Grr.
Break it! Ooh-ah!
That will be all. I hereby declare that...
Hold it. Is it him? Is he just here? Hello! Yay! Mr. Schultz!
There is no place for amateur deduction, Mr. Sholmes. May I remind you that the proceedings are closed to the general public. You will leave the courtroom at once.
Mr. Sholmes was instrumental in the apprehension of Shishiru Jijoku before he fled from Europe. The court should hear what he has to say. Lord Mail Strongheart! It's imperative that you refrain from bringing this trial to an end at this stage.
Is it really, and why would that be?
You need only recall your own words from the opening of the trial to answer that question, if I may. We will stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth behind these disturbing findings. Surely it can't be that the shock of being accused of being the Reaper has erased that from your memory, can it?
The whole truth, sir, has already been uncovered.
It would seem that we have a great many important members of the judiciary present here today. I put it to you, my dear fellows, should the trial end at this juncture? After all, why have you been invited to attend? To nod along with the prevarications of your superiors?
Order! Order in the court!
Seems to me that we stand before a door that leads to a new era of legal practices. A door that is ajar. No, it's a door. Let us emerge from the shadows of the Reaper's decade-long ascendancy. For you and you alone, my dear fellows, have the power to push this door open now.
The auditors in the gallery have no rights to express an opinion on court proceedings. Silence!
He's right. The judge has absolute authority here.
Yes, if he calls the trial to an end, it must end.
But will that really do?
I've such dark things occurring behind the scenes. Dark things indeed. Is there a single person? Oh, okay.
Well, what's... Trial should go on. Summon the witness. That's right. We need to clear this up before that young Japanese fellow is remanded in custody.
Schultz wields the power of peer pressure.
My lord, you assured those present that you would uncover the whole truth here. Vindicate yourself of this outlandish accusation. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. That's the foundation of British law.
Drink that one, my god, you have to.
A toast to my dependable colleagues in the gallery.
On with the trial, on with the trial. Testify, testify.
Well, my lord, you hear the voice of British justice, I take it. Yeah, I think you'll find I will be rather awkward to it would be rather awkward to silence.
The court will recess briefly. I have no intention of shrinking from these allegations. Bailiff, arrange for the subpoena of the witness at once. As soon as the gentleman arrives in the courthouse, we shall reconvene.
A recess won't be necessary, my lord.
Pardon?
Mikitoba is a close friend of mine. He accompanied me today and is waiting in the antechamber as we speak. I do believe he's been enjoying a little trip down memory lane, in fact.
What? Professor Mikitoba is here in the courthouse?
Mr. Sholmes, you didn't know this would happen, did you? My dear fellow, no one is in a better position to answer that question than you, surely. I wasn't just asking for the fun of it, you know?
Well, I must thank you for your assistance in this matter, Mr. Sholmes. However, you are of no further use here. Kindly leave the courtroom at once.
But of course, in truth, I find myself rather busy now as a result of these developments. Mr. Naruhodo! Ah, yes? I trust you have Iris's little lucky charm with you. Absolutely. It's still in my pocket. She sends her regards and a reminder. If you find yourself at a dead end, the ears are at your disposal. Just one tug, if you please. Oh, of course. Doesn't want his ear pulled off.
In that case, the trial will continue without delay. Bailiff, show the witness to the stand.
So it's Lord Strongheart. He's the Reaper of the Bailey. Where exactly is this trial going to take me, I wonder? Just how deep am I going to be plunged into the blackness of the abyss? Well, I'm ready. I'm ready to head into the heart of this maelstrom. Get it? And confront whatever horrors it tries to drown me under.
Oh! Oh! Oh my god. Alright. So yes, it is 11 o'clock. Normally I'd have 1 hour of stream left. So, the next part, the final part is not going to be less than 2 hours. Certainly. So, we will finish this game this upcoming Wednesday, babies. There is only one part left. Definitively. And, I can't wait. I don't want to stop, but I gotta. Hype. Oh, she's here! Ah! I got to look forward to her. Ah! You all, Gossamer, you led me down a... Yeah! Thank you for keeping that surprise. Oh my gosh. Okay, alright. We gotta get out of here, though. We gotta quit this game. I love you all to heckin' pieces. I'll scream again come next Wednesday. I would like to quit the game. Yes, please. I love you all so much. Thank you all for hanging out with me today. I'm gonna put the music back on. We're gonna find somebody to raid. But in the meantime, I posted this earlier. This is my... I have a few links for you. This is my card website. This is a one-stop shop to all things Comfy Catboy. Cozy, hello! I love the sound of Comfy screams. Ah! Ah! Thank you. I'm glad. Let's see. I don't know what, oh, this person, what about, let's see. I'm like deciding, like, who's on, who might be raidable, who might like a little raidy, milady. Milady. Secondly, so the card's a one-stop shop. If you have, if you want to check out any of my socials or any of the commission stuff or my Ko-fi shop, I would love if you check that out. I need a button for the Ko-fi shop, but it's on the card. Additionally, we have the Discord. It's a beautiful place full of lovely people. I would love to see you there. And then last but not least, yeah, let's make a new friend. Let's do it. Let's see. And then last but certainly not least, we have the links to the YouTube. I would love it if you check that out. I'm hoping to have a new video out tomorrow. We're gonna see. My hands have been kind of like, my mouse hand, I should say, has kind of been like giving me guff. So I don't want to like I'm certainly not gonna push through that. So I might just sort of take a bit of a break today, and then that means I wouldn't be able to get that done by tomorrow. But ideally, I'm okay, and we'll see. Because if my hand starts hurting, I'll just stop all stuff for today. I love you all to pieces. If you are a subscriber, copy and paste this. And Icy Soul, I love you if I didn't say. I love you all to pieces. We'll beat this game next Wednesday, and then we'll see what happens on Thursday. Mouse hands are making a squeak. Boop, 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 boop. All right, it's Mew Woo Woo. They're playing Minecraft. It's gonna be a good old time. I love you all. Have a lovely rest of your week and weekend. Bye bye.